Alrighty, I want to welcome you to this new installment in my series where I try and reverse engineer Alien Resurrection from the original PlayStation. And as per usual at the beginning of these videos, I'm going to include a little nugget of information that I found while scouring the internet for any new information that I could find regarding the development period of Alien Resurrection. And I actually found the ex-Argonaut Games member who worked on Alien Resurrection, who released some of the early, builds and some of the later builds throughout the development period of Alien Resurrection, all the way back to when it was a third-person shooter, all the way to, what we see today in the official release version of the game. And I tried to get in contact with this person, and I didn't have much luck because they're fairly inactive. But in the Discord server that we're part of, they, spent a lot of time when they first started releasing these builds around a year ago. And they released something that I found very interesting. And as you can see here, this is actually the 3D model software that I believe is probably something... I'm not exactly sure if this was, a common 3D modeling software. This was proprietary software from Argonaut Games. But as you can see here, this is a 3D modeling program that is loading up the level data for one of the levels in Alien Resurrection. You can see here their little xenomorphs down here. They have some facehugger eggs right here. They have node paths for the xenomorphs. And as you can see here, they have this 2D grid-based layout of the map with all these nodes. And up here as well. And this is very fascinating. As you can see here, they also have some of the rooms named. They have addresses for it. They have some checkboxes here. And then here they have these little green on-screen, looking textures here that I believe are on screen monitors in the game, where these are supposed to be animated textures that are supposed to show screens. Screen monitors are supposed to show outside of the ship. You can see from space, see things moving, maybe catch a couple Easter eggs. See here, there's some xenomorphs here. These don't look exactly like the xenomorphs in the final game. These look like a different version, but I believe this was supposed to be for a test build for the potential PC release that, was eventually canceled. As you can see here, they have a little bounding box for the little facehugger egg. And here's a xenomorph right here. Here they have, some of the nodes that show the pathing that the xenomorphs can take and have to follow, I'm assuming here. So yeah, this is very good information. Here we can see the level loading, we can see the file extension, its directory, all that good jazz. And hopefully I can get in contact with this person and they can start telling me a lot more about what this is, how I can read, the textures in the game, how to read the level data, and they can really help me in my reverse engineering process, and where I don't really have to go out of my way to try and figure out on my own and go through all these roundabout methods of using, geo interceptors and ninja rippers and cheat engine and all these things to try and understand what's going on. But with that out of the way, let's get into what I've been up to on the programming side of things. So unfortunately, I have been doing a lot of things off camera for a variety of reasons. One is that I've been having a lot of trouble. And two is that I've been doing a lot of binge coding while talking to friends, which I'm not going to record my friends. So while talking to them, I'll just be coding, just doing my own thing. So here's what I have so far. Here's my animation system working. Yep, got a smooth frame rate going on. I haven't added in sound yet. There is a very cheapskate way to do it using a play sound function in Windows, but I want to try and make it a bit more platform independent. So I'm going to learn about how to read and write to WAV files and understand how that works, and then try and load it into some more primitive function in the Windows API if I can. So this is the intro animation for Alien Resurrection. My frame rate is not going to be as smooth as it potentially can be because I'm on a very potato-ish computer, so running this while having Bandicam on and my Google Chrome tabs is hurting it a bit, but trust me, it's very smooth. Even this isn't that bad, but trust me, it's much smoother than this. You know, I think I did a very good job on my animation system. It took me a while to get it down pat. So I'm going to skip this animation a second. I just wanted to show you how smooth it's running. Go to this screen. This game is best played in the dark. And then we go to the uploading data menu. So this little pause screen. Boom. Here you can see in the background I have SDO capturing my input. I add an input event system. You can also use the keyboard. I don't have a new line escape sequence. So... but you can use either or. You can use the controller or the keyboard. Here you can load between the two memory slots. These don't function yet, but I didn't want to do it all because I did want to do some of this while actually working on, you know, on camera. I didn't want to do everything off camera. It makes me look like, you know, I'm unconfident in my programming skills, which just isn't the case. So yeah, this is what I have so far. Got the animation system working up, and I have some of the basic main menu recreated. Still a lot to do in the main menu, but after this, we can start working on the math part of the library and start working on the 3D graphics side of things and start working on that part of the engine. So this is my main menu system. If you notice, I rarely ever leave a lot of useful amount of you know, comments. You know, I do plan to comment some of this code, not only for my own sake, for when I have to look back at all of this. So an interesting thing that I took from Doom, I actually used the Doom randomization function, which it takes in, you know, a power of 2, since we're dealing in binary size. You do OXFF, you know, as a bit mask, you know, use the AND bitwise operator. You do the size of this binary digit here, right? And then it makes sure that it wraps around the size of the table. And once it does this AND operator on it, it can pseudo-randomly choose between these numbers. And then I add it to a rectangle that I have here. So I have this rectangle. The max size is 210 units long to fit. And then when I'm loading in the random screen, each call just calls the random number between 0 and 3. And once it reaches the bar height, which I said to be 210, it resets it just in case I need to ever load the menu screen again. And then it goes on to an enumeration to go to the next menu. So I'm going to load up the emulator to see how close I'm getting. I need to turn this black. Right now it's white. So I'm going to go here, and I'm actually going to load in my version, but I don't actually have to wait through the animation system, so I'm going to start off in the main menu. Main menu. There we go. If I compile and run that, it should start me off in the main menu. Okay. My font is a bit bigger than the original, but I'm not overly concerned about that. I also didn't get that animation. As you can see here, when you go back, it loads it up one at a time. I don't think mine does that. Let me give focus back to this. So if you go here, again, this is not black, the resurrection part, and it doesn't load it up as an animation. So I need to fix that. So let's go back here. Oh, it's giving focus to both of them. That's not good. So when you go to load game, again, the font is noticeably bigger. And it's a tiny bit different. You know, the white, you know, highlighting that I do in is a bit more pronounced than in the original. But it's the same font, it's just a bit bigger. And the resolution is a bit worse because I'm using a stretch function, which I'm going to replace these with this font so that it doesn't look so blurry. And then I have the buttons that I actually already cropped out to fix the resolution. So let's give focus back to the game. And you can see here that this little selection stripe actually goes through an animation sequence, and mine doesn't yet. So in their options menu, here's how it looks like. I'm going to go to mine here, options menu. So here it is, game options, sound options, control options, display options. Again, going to replace their font with mine. down here as well, just not right now. Yeah, and now I just need to go into the game menu. So let me go into theirs, in their load game, right? No memory card detected. When it doesn't detect a memory card, and it goes to that screen. Okay. So yeah, so far so good. Not too bad of a job. You know, the main menu creation is going fairly dandy. So let's start programming. So let me go to here. Solution GUI. I have the animation for election stripes here, but let's see. I'm in main menu. Load game menu? No. Load options menu. So here we have game options, sound control, and display options. Display options is the easiest because all it has is this display menu. So let's go into Photoshop real quick and lower down the size of that. And I did create a Java program to specifically handle this, but again, the main problem that I'm having right now is that you know, memory issues. You know, I'm on a potato, so I'm gonna do this through Photoshop to save on that. So 310 by 219 is the resolution that I'm dealing with. Playing Ressurection here. GUI images. I'm gonna go for BMP. Display.bmp. Yep. Okay. So in our main menu, we're gonna have to. So in our load options menu, the first thing we're going to work on is going to be that. So let me compile and run and make sure I get this right. Oops, wrong one. So yeah, display options. It's going to be the first one. So mn display options equals 8. So where am I? Oops. Okay, figure out where I'm at. So here we are. I think that's if sprite num count equals 3. Okay, so if event dot a pressed or event dot space pressed, if you're Windows, we're gonna say state changed is gonna be equal to true, and then menu is going to be equal to, what did I call it? Display menu, I think, right? Is that what I called it? Display options. I meant to call it display menu. I had a feeling I didn't call it display menu. Okay, so we're going to need to load a case for that. So mn display menu. UGDL load display menu with VRAM, event, and font through it. As per always, can have a break statement there. Okay, so void UDGL load. Let me get my computer way closer to me. I'm really far away. Display menu. So what did I have? uint 32 unsigned 32-bit integer for VRAM. I had the UGDL event and the UGDL font, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah. And so we're going to load a sprite. We're going to say UGDL sprite display. UGDL load sprite. So what is it? It is GUI slash GUI images slash display.bmp. It's going to be an 24-bit RGB format. I'm going to pass in display as a reference. 310 by 219. UGDL display sprite. That's in VRAM. Display 00, and our erase is going to be purple because I actually don't want to get rid of any of the colors. And then we're going to free the sprite after it's done. Free that memory. display. We're going to have a boolean. So bool state changed. It's going to be equal to false initially, but if we click on a button, the state will be changed. And this is mainly to play sounds. So if the state is changed, we want a certain sound to be played. So if I think, let me go back to the original game. What happens if we options, display options? Yeah, we just have to press the back button. And it'll take us to the previous menu. Okay. So if event dot, what is it, Y pressed or escape pressed for the keyboard, we're gonna say state changed is gonna be equal to true in that case, and then menu is gonna be, what's the previous menu? Game options, is that it? Game options, options menu, options menu. And I think that should be the easiest screen. I don't think any more needs to happen. So let's test it out. Oh, nothing happened. Make sure I did that right. I'm in display menu. Did I do something wrong? Let me see. Click options. That's interesting. Okay, that seems to work for it. Space press worked, but then the A button wasn't working. That's interesting. But the space bar was working. What is happening? Yeah, that's to go back, but if I want to move forward, I had to... Oh! Wrong A button. That's what happened. It needs to be capital A underscore. That's how I did joystick input. Now I remember. There we go. Now it's working. And this is all that needs to be done. Yeah, it's a bit too fast. I'm gonna go back to input and I'm gonna delay SDL a bit more. Let's try 250. I'm gonna add a gain state so it doesn't always delay the input, but that was a bit fast. Yeah, that's a bit much. Okay, now I see what happened. It's specifically that I haven't worked on these buttons yet for that. Okay, so SDL, delay, 150. Mainly A and Y press, just front and back for now. I'm gonna make sure that I clear that up later. Okay, that should be working. Yep. We recommend you play this game in the dark. Reduce your TV brightness to its minimum setting. Now increase your TV brightness gradually until the left facehugger in the box is only just visible. Adjust screen position using the directional buttons at all four corners of the inner frame are visible. Hilarious. Okay, so that's display options working. Now let's go look at the other menus. That one was just going to be the easiest one to get out of the way. It only had one image. Sound options. Sound options isn't that bad either. Yeah, sound options isn't that bad. We can load that one next. So let's go in sound options, or I should say sound menu, just to keep everything having the same suffix. Okay, so what's sound options? So if I go to load options, it's the second one, okay? Here, okay. So if event dot apress or event dot spacepress, I want state changed equal to true, and then menu is going to be equal to sound menu. Right? Okay. So now we're going to need to load sound menu. Going to follow the same pattern, mn sound menu. I like my break statements to be after my ending curly brace. HDL load sound menu VRAM event font. Load sound menu. Okay. Okay. What do I need to do here? Sound menu, sound options menu. I'm gonna need this. So again, we're gonna go to our great buddy Photoshop. This one isn't that hard either. It really only requires me to draw a couple strings. So I'm gonna go around in the actual game and see what it's like. So you can choose between stereo, mono, and Dolby, and remove these. Okay. Okay. That's fine. So image size, 310 by 219 is the resolution we're dealing with. Sound options menu.bmp. Yep. Okay. I think that should be working. Again, test it out. There we go, sound options. Okay. Now I need to look at this. So these two will be drawn no matter what. Sound mode and sound effects. In this image over here. So this is going to be drawn over sound. So I'm actually going to move this conditional statement a bit in the back. I want this text to draw over the sprite, so string. So what did this thing say? Sound mode. Sound mode. Let's just say 200, 100 for now. The likelihood of it actually being there is pretty low, but gotta test it out. Options, sound options. Okay, yeah, that's way too far. 100, 100 then. Wait, why don't I just start it off in sound menu? What am I doing? Why do I keep doing this? I just started off in sound menu. I'm gonna make my life easier. Way back down here. Or is it? Where are we? Damn, still not there. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Much better. Need to bring it up some. Yeah, bring it up a little bit. It's like 120. Let me actually unfull screen this for a second. Oops, I shouldn't have done that. I didn't mean to resize it. That was a huge no-no. The computer doesn't like when I do that. Without resizing it, move this window. Okay. Maybe to the right a bit more. And a smidge bit more up. A smidge bit more. So I'm going to bring this to maybe 90. Bring this up to 125. Need to bring it to the right a bit more. Let's try 80. Maybe a bit too much, but I'm trying to get the contours correct. I don't want to be a huge stickler, but... Oh, please don't do that again. The D should be like, if we go down here a little bit past here. So a little bit more to the right, just a bit. The D needs to be a bit more back. Again, I know it sounds like I'm being like way too much of a stickler, but again, when you want to be as accurate as possible, there's nothing wrong with being a stickler. Because I'm going to probably decrease the font size and change the resolution to be a bit more clear, but getting sort of the coordinates around that location is what's going to matter. Yeah, that's good. And right under it is going to be sound effects. I'm going to draw another string called sound effects. Sound effects. Let's get a little bit of an approximation. Yeah, a little bit lower than that. Let's put you at 100. Don't need you touching each other. That's a bit much. Again, when it comes to stretching, like, it can really come down to like 2 or 3 pixels of a difference. A little bit closer, just a little bit, just a smidget more. Let's try 115, even though that may be a bit too close. Yeah, it's a bit too close. Let's try 111. A tiny bit closer. Tiny bit closer. Let's try 113. Let's go in the middle between 111 and 115. Yeah, that's fine. All right. The effects doesn't need to be in the middle. The S needs to end where the E is. So let's bring it back. 55. Bring it back some more. Let's try 52. Yep, there we go. And then we need to start dealing with images. So there are 3 types of so if you're in sound mode, so there are essentially 2 modes that you can be in. There's sound mode and sound effects mode. So we need a counter to keep track of that. We're gonna call it sound sprite counter. And then sub sound counter. And that is to keep track of the internal things that are changing. So you change between sound effects and then the sound mode and then the other one, right? But then you have the internal one. So inside of sound mode, you can choose stereo, Dolby, and mono, right? So we have to keep track of that as well. So let's see, how am I gonna do this? First of all, you can go between 2 of them. So if vent that down press or vent dot S press, sound sprite counter state changed is going to be true. Then if sound sprite counter, and I think, how does it work? Let's test this. Okay, so you can flip between the 2. Okay, so sound sprite counter is less than 0. You want to set it to be equal to 1. And then if sound sprite counter is greater than 0, I mean greater than 1, you want to set it back to be 0. So if sound sprite counter is equal to 0, sound mode, this is where we do the sub sprite counter. But before that, I forgot, I need to do this one more time, but a slight different variation. So if up pressed or if W pressed, it's going to decrement. So UG Wait, UGDL. And the thing is, the selection stripe for this is pretty big, right? And sound options, yes, pretty long. I'm gonna have to elongate it. I'm gonna test draw the word stereo. I think they're around 30 units apart. So I'm gonna test this out real quick by drawing that string. String, BRM, font, stereo. I got mixed up there. Their X values are the ones that need to be different. It's their Y values that need to stay the same. Getting a bit of a brain fart for me. Damn, they're gonna be separated a lot further than that. Not that much. That's about right. So again, let me load up the original. I have it here as well. They're far, but I guess since the font is bigger, I can make them a bit closer than that. So instead of 200, let's put you at 190. That's that. Yeah, that's better. So, let's see. Sound mode starts at 75. Let me get my calculator out. So 190 minus 75, 115, and let's say that since it's a little bit extra than that, let's add extra 30 units. So you need to be 145 pixels long. So again, if we come here, so Alien Ressurection, so essentially, I've been using this one as sort of the temporary one. This is 110 long. I need this to be 145 long. How long is this one? I already made another one that was a bit longer. This one's 135. Alright, I'm gonna just change you. So, Photoshop. How long has this been going on? 38 minutes. Okay, good timing, good timing. Image size. Let's make you 145. One, 3 ones. Light the beam, UGL load sprite. If you're not basketball fans, you wouldn't get that. GUI / GUI images / what's it? Selection stripe 111.bmp 24-bit RGB. Light the beam. Wait, I didn't get the dimensions of that. I'm an idiot. 145.5. Display sprite. Purple. Sprite. I think it needs to be much longer than that, but let me put it around the 50 mark. It's probably going to need to be longer than that. It's definitely going to need to be longer than that. Let's add another 20 to it. 165. Again, even though I think I can push it to be a bit longer than that, again, if we go into sound options, can be a bit closer than that, sure, whatever. I mean, I guess it could be a bit longer. It's about 60. Yeah, it needs to be another like 20 or so longer. Let's try 185. Save. Needs to be still longer. Surprisingly, it needs to be longer. Let's try 190. Oh my, it still needs to be longer. 205. Let's do 205. Man, this is long. Finally. Let's see. Oops. Oh, that's right. Yep, too low, too low. We learn. Let's test the one for that one. Yeah, it needs to be longer for this one. This one we're going to make 230. We're just gonna add an extra 1. And I'm gonna push it back some. Instead of being placed at 60, maybe 50 should work. A little bit more. 140. That's much better. Switching between the two. So now we're gonna do the other one. So you can switch between in the original stereo, mono, and Dolby, I believe. But of course, I want to test it out for myself. Stereo, Dolby. So stereo, mono, and Dolby. So it automatically is set to be 1, but it can be 0, 1, or 2 because it has 3 different options. Which one is which? Again, bad short-term memory. So mono, stereo, and Dolby. Mono, stereo, and Dolby. Okay. I want to call it sub sound counter. Yeah. So if this is going to be if event dot left pressed or event dot depressed for the keyboard, sub sprite counter or sub sound counter. Wait, left, I meant right. Right. Gonna increment the counter. And then event dot left pressed or event dot a pressed sub sound counter s minus state changed is going to be true in this case. State changed is going to be true in this case. So if sub sound counter is greater than 2, because it's going to be 0, 1, or 2, this time it doesn't wrap around to 0. It's going to be equal to 2. Then sub sound counter is less than 0. It's going to make sub sound counter be equal to 0. Sub sound sounder, yeah, it makes it makes a lot of sense. Control C, Control V. So if sub sound counter is equal to 0, I want to draw the word mono. Else if sub sound counter is equal to 1, else it's going to be 3 options: copy, mono, Control C, Control V, and then Dolby. Let's see if this is currently working. Mono, then yep, there you go. Stereo, mono, Dolby. And switch between them. In the original, do they like have a bit of a different location? Nope, they all start off at the same location. Here we go. So stereo, mono, and Dolby. Yep, okay. And the next one is going to be a bit different. So if you're in sound effects, yep, mono, stereo, and Dolby don't change. It's only when you're in this one. Good. Control flow is working. Oh, let me make sure it's working with keyboard and mouse real quick. Yep, okay. Good. Next. It's drawing these little images. So I have them as little buttons in here. Go to res folder. Buttons. I call it sound button. They're probably going to need to be a little bit smaller than what they are. Like, what size are they here? 12 by 18. Yeah, that's really huge for my engine. I think they're the same size as the sprites, right? Yeah, they are. They're 9x9s. So in my game, all my sprites are 9x9. So I'm gonna also reflect that in these little buttons here. Boy, go on there, you. Size. So 12x18, what ratio is that? I see that number. So what would be the equivalent? 9 by like 16? No. 9 by 12? No. 9 by 11? No. 9 by 13? Closer. 9 by 15 maybe? 9 by... So 9, 12 by 16, 9 by 15 then. I'll test this out. Save as res. And resurrection. GUI images. Save it as soundbutton.bmp. Let's just do a test draw. So HDL sprite button load sprite GUI slash images slash button.bmp 8. Display sprite. So okay, let's test this out. Oh, I must have given inaccurate information. It's 9 by 15, correct? It's soundbutton.bmp, right? It's in GUI images, soundbutton.bmp. Yep, 9 by 15. It's definitely called sound_button.bmp. That's weird. That shouldn't have happened. But yet it did. And it's not saying that it didn't find it. That's interesting. So if I try and use that function, I didn't really like that either. Okay, I'm not even going to try and do anything with it. I'm just going to see what happens if I try and load it. So when I load the sprite, it just shits itself. That's interesting. Oh! I'm passing in sound instead of button. Yep, I'm officially an idiot. What the hell am I doing? Yes, that. Oh my god, they need to be 9x9s. You go to res. Let me go to GUI. Yeah, they got to be 9x9s. Nine by 9. No, they definitely shouldn't be then. You know what? I'm gonna try this for a change. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna save as. I'm gonna go to GUI images. I'm gonna go to BMP. I'm gonna replace him real quick. It's gonna be 12x18, I believe. The original. I'm gonna test you out. Okay, you're ginormous. You need to be less ginormous. My fonts are 9x9s, right? Everything is 9x9. Where to get 12x18? I can make them 6x9s and see if that works. That's like a similar ratio. Save. So 6x9. That's much better. So let's bring it over to where the S is. So X, you need to be around 190 or something. A little bit backwards, so like 198. So we're gonna keep using the same button image. But we're just gonna draw it a bunch of times. Just use this display option a bunch of times. So if it equals 1, right? Then I'm gonna need a second one, sub sound counter 2. And it starts off with how many? 1, 2, 3, 8. Sub sound counter 2 is gonna be set to 8. Well, first we need to actually do this. So if it's equal to 1, event dot right pressed or event dot depressed, but sub sound counter 2 incremented. Let's not we forget that state change. It's going to be equal to true. This is going to be important when we're trying to play sounds. So sub sound counter 2 is greater than 8. This one doesn't wrap around either. It's going to be equal to 8. Sub sound counter 2 is to be less than 0. Well, in this case, it can be 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Because it's inclusive. Sub sound counter 2 is going to be equal to 1. Then it's going to be a similar thing here, but instead it's decrement and it's if it's left or A pressed. Same thing applies though. So let me think. If it's 2, here, if it's set to 8, it draws 8. What's an efficient way to try and draw 8 of these little things? Be a for loop. As long as I is less than sprite, you know, sub sound counter 2, technically 1, 0, I plus plus. Display sprite VRAM button I wish I remembered where I put it at. For now I'm gonna say 190 needs to be on the same, so 113. Started off there. Oh, erasure. Remember, purple. Let me see what it looks like. Bring it a little bit further. So I think I said like 205 originally or something like that. Yeah, I clearly didn't. I was clearly bugging. Probably said like 198 or something. Yeah, there we go. So, actually you can start it at 0 from what I'm about to do. Plus I times 12, the X. That was idiotic. Maybe times 6. Should be 6 units apart. A bit more than that, you know. Get rid of this. 7 units apart. Yeah, that's better. I know. And here we can do like this because of the for loop. Yeah, that works. There we go. Okay, so let's go all the way back to the beginning. So we have load game. Go through these, right? Nothing works yet, but options menu, display options, give you this screen. Go to sound options. Stereo, Dolby, mono, stereo. This. Yep. Yep. Everything sounded the way I would like it to be. And it'll keep track of this, so I can have mono this. So if I go to display options, right, but if I come back to sound options, it should have it where I left it. Yep. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Good, good, good. Okay. That's the basics of that menu. We're going to get more advanced with it, but we're just trying to get the basic, you know, frame of it set up. Get the basic skeletal architecture before we actually start getting way more into detail about how I would like this. So now we have control options and game options menu. Game options isn't that hard either. You can change the difficulty, have on and off for crosshair and hit motion, and then the credits. Yeah, I forgot to do the credits animation. I'm gonna actually add that. So game options, okay. Let's do game options menu now. MN game menu, I'm gonna call it. Move this break statement. GDL load game menu. Oh, I already named something that I really do actually need to name it game options then. Okay then. So now I need to come all the way back here into this menu, right? Load options menu. And I'm gonna cheat real quick and look it up. Load game options is the first one. So if it's equal to 0, so if event.aPressed or event.spacePressed, state changed is going to be equal to true. Menu is going to be equal to mn game options menu. First things first, Bandicam, because, oh, what? Photoshop, first things first, Photoshop. 1 over an hour, okay. Image size, let's do 310 by 219 as per usual. In Ressurection, the images, game options menu 1.bmp. Okay, testing, testing, testing. Load game options menu 1. Okay, so I gave it the incorrect name. Oh, I didn't put it where it needed to be put. Just paste. Wait, what? Oh, it's not load, it's just game options. Okay. Game options menu. I'm tripping. There we go. Getting there, getting good progress here. Lobby, mono. And now game options. Alright, so let's perma switch the game options until further notice. Game options menu. Automatically load that up for me, pal. Thank you. Now that we have that, let's go and look at what that looks like. So I'm guessing, so you have difficulty, on off, and credits. So there are some strings that do not change. Difficulty, crosshair, head motion, and credits do not change, but normal and on and off can change. So that means that with impunity I can essentially draw these 3 main strings. So draw string, VRM, font, difficulty, and nice, short, sweet, and simple for now. Let's look at the original, right? The D is kind of where the G is. It needs to be much lower than this. Put it at 130. Put it at 105. It's around the height it needs to be. So let's see, if you go down to the G, kind of matches up with the I, so it needs to be back a little bit. So let's put it at 100. Try and match this G up with the I. There we go, I like that. G matches up nicely with the I. Difficulty, crosshair, head motion, and credits. What's it? Head motion? Crosshair first. Crosshair. Let's try this out. The funny thing about difficulty is that crosshair is supposed to be longer, but for me it just isn't. like crosshair and difficulty take up like a very similar amount, because if I mean, I could add in a second space bar, but that's just doing too much. Yeah, that's just doing too much. So I'm gonna put it at like 100 as well. Again, it's a bit longer, but it's like marginally longer. Yeah, like marginally. Then we have head motion under crosshair. Head motion is closer to crosshair than it is to difficulty. I'll keep that in mind. It is head motion, right? Head motion. Then used to be at like 90. Instead of being 20 apart, I can put it at like 122. I forgot how the Windows GDI draws. And then credits right below it. That starts around the M of motion. So let's draw that. Show string credits. Let me think. Coordinates would work. 95 and 80. It's quite a bit below, isn't it? Yeah, the Y is good, but that X needs to be much larger. Be like 120. Even more. 135. Yeah, that's much better. It's almost perfect. I just need to tuck it in a bit more. Instead of 135, let's try that 130. Yep. It's perfect. Then I'm gonna need the game counter. And the line is getting a bit long, so we're gonna start here. Game sprite counter. Start off at 0. So if event space press event dot, let's start off with down press, or dot s press s, I mean. Then first of all, state change is going to be true. Game sprite counter plus. Let me check the original. Four. Yep. Sprite counter is greater than 3 in this case. Sprite and it does flip between them in that case, right? It'll, if I go to credits, it'll start back at difficulty. Yes, it wraps back around. Got it. And if game sprite counter is less than 0, it's going to wrap back around to be 3. It's going to be a similar thing if up pressed, W pressed, except again, decrement. In reality, I didn't need to load these stripes one at a time in each one. I could have just used the same one and got rid of it. I'm gonna remember that. I'm only gonna do that for this one, but I'll remember that for now. I'm gonna load in, because I think they all use the same one. Some of them they don't, but some of them like have like different sizes. Like in sound control, like these two are not the same size. They're not the same one being used, or it's being elongated, but difficulties is smaller and credits is way smaller. Difficulty, I'm going to try and use the first one. So, if game sprite counter is equal to 0, I'm just going to create a global definition to use the same one. UGDL sprite beam, light the beam. I'm going to load it in the memory. So, GUI slash GUI images slash, I forgot what I've even called it. GUI images selection stripe 1. Selection stripe 1.bmp RGB 24-bit RGB. The first one, what size is the very first one? 110. So I'm just gonna do a test real quick. Display sprite. So VRAM, beam. See where the string's being drawn. Getting some optimizations need to be done here, but for now we're just going to focus on functionality. What in the hell? Oh wait, I think I said 110 and I put 100. That's my bad. Alright, that one's not long enough. Maybe for like our boy in credits, that'll be fine. But not for what we need it for. In order to get it to be this size, to go where normal is, we're gonna need to go to the longest one that we have. 1111. The 4 ones. That one's 230. 111. Never mind, I was lying. We can go to the third longest one. That one's 205. I'll pull it back a bit actually. Doesn't need to be exactly at 205. It can be at like 198. Oops. Meant to do that here. Yeah, it can be placed at like 88. Does that look too long? It kind of does, but it depends on where I place normal at. That one's 205. What is the second longest one then? 135? Yeah, this one is better. What I'm looking for. I'm just gonna free the sprite at the end. I think that come here. We go here. All of these use the same size. Yeah, so I can reuse it for all three. Proceed. In fact, I can use a little loop here, can I? And I for I equal to 0 as long as I is less than... Wait. I know why. Yeah, no, I can't. That'd be dumb to try and use a loop there, because they're different states. What am I doing? So, you, my good friend, are going to be put at 152. Wait, it needs to be lower than that. What am I doing? 152. Or like 112. And this one could be at like 100. And then credits. This is going to use a smaller one. It's actually Little Beam. I'm going to call you Little Beam. You can use the very first one. GUI / GUI images / selection sprite 1. Is that what it's called? Selection stripe, not sprite. Stripe _1 .bmp. GB. At Little Beam, it was 110, right? 110. Little Beam, like 120, like 88. I may not forget to free you. Don't want to blow up my memory. Little Beam. You're the only one that needs like the little beam. Got my L there. This also needs to be 3. What does it say? Shouldn't be getting any more errors. At Little Beam. Oh, what am I doing? That's very big. This one has easy, normal, hard. On, off, state, and credits. And let me go through my version. I'm gonna pull it back a little bit for these. 84, 84, 84. Pulling back even more than that. This one needs to be pulled back. Oh, this one needs to be at like 75. All of them could be pulled back to 75, really. And I think I forgot something about this. The stripe should be behind the text, not in front. So this should be going before. Obviously, to check for these, I'm going to want to call these before as well. There we go. And then we're going to have a sub counter. We're going to actually have two of them, because credits menu just loads in an animation. So sub diff counter is going to start off at 1. It's going to go between 0, 1, and 2. So where are we here? So if game sprite counter is equal to 0, right? We're going to say if event.writePressed or event.depressed is state changed will be true, and then we're going to say left menu, no, wait, what am I trying to say? Sub diff counter plus plus, right? And if sub diff counter is greater than 2, 0, 1, 2, 3 modes, normal, hard, and easy, right? Easy, normal, and then hard in that order. Easy, normal, hard. So yeah, 0, 2, greater than 2. This one doesn't wrap around, so it's going to be equal to 2. I understand that this is a bit of a redundant check, but it's just making sure that no funny business ever happens. Because technically, if I'm only ever incrementing, there's zero reason why I should need to have this, but I'm going to keep it, you know, always just in case. So if event.left pressed or event.aPressed rather, say state change just going to equal to true. Subdiff counter minus minus. And these checks again. Right? Okay. So if subdiff counter is equal to 0, GPL, draw string. I'm going to automatically set it to be 1 first so I can test it out. Font. Normal. Yeah, it automatically is equal to 1, I remember. Okay, I remember to put that. Cool. 75, 132. Way further back. Let's see, does that look far apart enough? Yep, looks far enough to me. If it's equal to 0, I'm going to draw easy. Then if equal to 2, I'm going to draw hard. So easy, normal, hard. And so crosshair just has an on and off state. So it just has 2 states on and off. Ugh. So what's it called? The crosshair. So I'm going to call it sub cross counter. Sub cross counter is going to be equal to 0. It only has 2 states, 0 and 1. I'm going to call this state. So is equal to 0. Off. Here. Okay, I'm trying to color blend this to an acceptable manner, but I'll need to go into the original function that I called. So I think it was in Sprite. What the f- Okay, let's test it out. Lazy. I did it backwards a bit. Let me test it out a bit. The way that 0 and 1 is done. Right press should be going that way. Should be adding. Left press should be subtracting. So left. Inverted these. Ah, it should be working. Off, on, okay. And then I'm gonna call this sub hair counter equals 0. Sub hair counter is equal to 0. Or head, rather. I think it was for head motion. Sub head counter. And I can essentially just copy and paste this because it's going to be exactly the same. But it's just if this one is 2. Instead of sub cross, it's just going to be sub head. Right? Sub head. Sub head. Sub head. Sub head. Head, 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 subhead. See. There we go, and then we just need to get credits menu. So let's go to the beginning. So load. Again, these are a bit bright. Now, since I've changed it. So I'm going to allow you to manually choose in local sprite this function that I set up. Where did I put it at? Here. After color, I'm going to let you put in a float called factor. So half. That's what I need to remember for those. When you're in this one. Nope, here. One of these used local. Here we go. Y'all used the 0.2, I believe. The ones that I just used here used 0.5. There we go. Back to normal for them. Options, so game options. Come here, I want to play hardest difficulty, crosshair on, head motion off. Then I want to load the credits menu, can't do that right now, but sound options. So I want it to be mono like this. Display options. Lastly is the control options menu. How long have I been recording for? Almost 2 hours. This is the longest one I've done yet. Yeah, that credits menu is going to require me to record, but I actually would like to show everyone the credits menu, but I guess we'll do the game what's it called? Control options. Oh, this one's going to be hard, because I have all these different types of controllers. Yeah, I'm going to probably just do this one off camera and get that, yeah, this one's going to take me a while, because of the different controller configurations that they have. And you can shift between them, so unfortunately it's not like I can just sort of like I don't know, I had to black it out. I was able to find the controller on its own here, and I plan to copy and paste these arrows. So yeah, I'm gonna do that one later, but I've gotten great progress so far, so yeah, I guess I'll just wrap it up here.